chair is still empty. It is for His Holiness Keshava Maharaj. But since we are already a little late, let us start now and he will join us. Perhaps, Gaurahari, you may need to... does anyone know? Harsh, you know where he is, isn't it? In which room?
Keshava.
Yeah.
Not too sure.
Not too sure.
No. It's next to your library.
Someone can maybe tell, but maybe he is...
I think he's aware he will come as soon as
he will... take it. Okay. So, my dear devotees, let us have a very enlivened and inspiring, hopefully question and answer session. Who of you would like to ask the question? Let me specify. We are looking for questions which are for the good of everyone in the room. So try to put these questions that are relevant for everyone. But you have other questions. So who would like to start? Gaurahari is here.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Maharaj. I had a question for Haripashad Prabhu. It's connected to some extent to what we had in this retreat. In the Upadeshamrita area, there was a lecture where you spoke, you had some praman that actually devotees do not have karma, that by devotional service all karma is destroyed. And at the same time, like this morning in the answer to Goranandini, there was also, seems there was still a part of karma coming. And also, in my understanding, if we do activities in Krishna consciousness, we do not create any new karma. But if it's mixed, or if I have selfish motive, then I might create some karma. So, how do we understand this point that devotees do not have karma, or maybe I understood something wrong as well? Or if you can clarify on that.
Yeah, there is very clearly mentioned in Shastra that devotees do not have, Vaishnavas do not have any particular karma. This is in Hari Bhakti Vilas, it is often quoted. You can see it on the screen. Na karma bandhanam janma Vaishnavanam cha vidyate. Vishnur anucharatvam hi moksham ahur manishina. No karma bandhanam, there is no bondage of karma, and janma. And there is no taking birth under the bondage of karma for a Vaishnava. But when the verse we saw, that was Srimad Bhagavatam, Tattenu Kampam, and this particular verse is 10:14.8. It says, the devotee thinks, Bhunjana eva atma kritam vipakam. Atma kritam vipakam. The devotee understands it. And Prabhupada says, Atma Kritam, done by himself, Vipakam, fruitive results. So results of karma. If the devotee doesn't have karma, why will the devotee think that I am suffering through my results of my previous karma? Because the devotee may not be suffering through results of previous karma, but there is a reason why the devotee may still suffer. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in the commentary to Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1.1.22 that devotees suffer not due to karma but due to one of the aparadhs that they have committed in the past. So that may be seva aparadh or nam aparadh or any particular aparadh, and that particular reason for devotees this verse is Bhunjana eva atma kritam aparadham. Basically, that is the meaning for the devotees, that I am suffering because of the results of my previous aparadhas. So let me point out what exactly Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in the commentary to Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. This is that famous verse of the dog eater in, the dog eater becomes purified of all the karma simply by chanting Bhagwan's names. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says here is what he says. Athatra, now understand here, Bhaktanam prarabdha samanya nashepi. Even though karma, prarabdha in general for devotees is destroyed. Still, yat sukha dukkham drishyate. You see some material happiness and material distress. Tatra tu sukham, happiness, is bhakter anushangikam phalam, is a side effect of performing bhakti. So any material happiness that we get is a side effect of performing bhakti. Bhakti Devi is the mother, she gives happiness. And then he quotes a praman for it. So we'll not get into the details of the praman. And dukkham, it should be dukkham here, this is a typing mistake. Dukkham tu kutrachit bhagavad dattam. Unhappiness is given sometimes by Bhagavan. And Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes Yatha Dashama in the 10th canto, Yasyaham Anugrinami, the verse which Maharaj was quoting today. If I become especially, I sometimes give him some unhappiness. So that he is reminded that this material world is not a fit place to stay. Although we don't want liberation, and devotees become so mad that for them everywhere is okay. But Krishna gives a reminder from time to time, okay, but you may not want liberation, but I want you to get liberated. So get out of here. And then he says, Kutrachit Vaishnava Aparadhati Phalam Iti Vivechini. Sometimes it is a result of Vaishnava Aparadha, etc. So that verse on the 10th canto, this verse is for anybody including a non-devotee. Tatte Nukampam. But for the devotee, they should understand instead of previous karma, previous aparadha. That is what it means. So I hope that clarifies. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Another question? Perhaps you? Yes. If you would like the question to be asked, to be answered by one of the three of us, then please say this is a question for so and so.
Thank you very much. I guess maybe it's for anyone who could answer.
You could give the mic
to my question is how to find the service for Krishna where one could be good at, use their strengths, qualities and talents for Krishna's service. How to find it and what are the obstacles why one cannot find it and perform it?
So I was mentioning earlier in one of the talks that there is a repeated verse in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is explaining that each one of us have a dharma, our own swadharma, and we should honor our own service, our own purpose, our own contribution. So your question is, how do we find that contribution? How do we understand what service we're meant to do for Krishna in this lifetime? So the first thing is we have to try to deeply understand our own nature, the unique psychophysical nature that we've been given by Krishna. You see, in generations ago, young people grew up in gurukuls. They were teachers, and those teachers observed them from when they were very young till the point where they became young adults, and then those teachers would be able to guide and say, this is what you're meant to do, and it would become very, very clear. But in today's day and age, it's very mixed up. We are unclear, we're surrounded by so many opinions, expectations of what we should do, so therefore many people are confused. So the first thing, three things we say if you want to find your nature. Number one, analyze. Number two, ask. And number three, attempt. So the first thing is analyze yourself. Look at the descriptions of the different varnas, look at the descriptions of different personality types. Try to look deeply into your own character and see what unique abilities Krishna has given you, what kind of situations in which you strive, what kind of activities naturally absorb your mind and give you energy. Then you begin through your own analysis to be able to understand more about your personality. But sometimes we can also be clouded, so ask. Then have gurus, have other people who are mature, who know Shastra, who understand you well, who you trust, and ask them for their input. what do you think I'm good at? What do you think I can do for Krishna? Like that. And then ultimately attempt. Try different things, try different services, and see where you can make a contribution to the movement, a contribution to the mission of Mahaprabhu. And through this process, over time, then gradually we find those unique things that we can dedicate our time and our energies to. Just one other thing I would say is that in engaging in service, what we often share with devotees, especially those coming into the ashram, but this can stand for anyone, is try to have 3 types of services. One type of service is the one that you're naturally inspired and inclined towards, because that gives you energy and naturally gives you a feeling that you're utilizing your strengths. But also, number 2, try to do the service that's just required. Sometimes there is a service that may not be my nature, but when we are flexible and open enough to just serve the need of the day, do the needful, as Srila Prabhupada would say, then that brings a lot of mercy in our lives. So we should not only look for services that, Prabhu, I would love to take the rubbish out, but it's not my nature. Krishna said you have to honor your nature and not use another's duty, so someone else will do, I will stick to. No, we do the needful. So the second type of service is try to do something that is required. And the third thing is try to do a service which causes you to depend on Krishna, which causes you to have to come out of your own comfort zone. Oftentimes, if we only do services which we have a nature for, that we're inclined towards, then we can get into the ego that I can do it, I'm good, I'm capable. So then we take some services in which we realize that no, I must rely on Krishna. Krishna is ultimately going to help me complete this service. So like that, we can also try to vary our services. These are some thoughts.
Wonderful. The next question is coming from the clay pot. It is addressed to Harivansha Prabhu. We take it in between. While you are, have some time, please continue to ask, because we will alternate between the clay pot question and the live audience question.
Question: if we were to commit Padma Niti towards Krishna, what would be the consequences for the relationship? How would we fix or repair the relationship? So, first and foremost, the question has a technical term in it. So I'll explain what is the technical term for those who are attending for the first time. Padma was the mother of Kamsa. After Krishna killed Kamsa, Padma and her husband Ugrasen were staying in Dwarka with Krishna. Krishna was feeling a lot of separation from the Vrajavasis, and he started crying at one point of time and saying that I could not give anything to the Vrajavasis. Padma got afraid that Krishna might end up giving the kingdom of Dwarka to the Vrajavasis. So she said, what we will do is, we will calculate how many morsels of food Nanda Maharaj fed Krishna, double the amount and give it to Nanda Maharaj, so that Krishna is satisfied. So Krishna was shocked on hearing this statement. Krishna just blanked out at that particular moment. So this is what happened. And what is Padma Niti? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that there are many devotees who want to exchange their devotional service in return for some lower benefit. For example, somebody wants to be recognized as a senior devotee, somebody else wants something else from Krishna in return for the bhakti they have done. What is the impact on the relationship with Sri Krishna of such a devotee? So the first thing is, usually if a practitioner devotee has such a desire, they will usually not be easily able to access the higher aspects of devotional service, because only after getting rid of the lower motivations does one finally manage to reach the higher aspects of bhakti. Prahlad Maharaj specifies this in the Srimad Bhagavatam. नान्यथा ते किल गुरो घटेत करुणात्मना यस्त आशिष आशास्ते न सबृत्य स वै वणिक. In 7th canto 10th chapter 4th verse, Narasimhadev asked Prahlad Maharaj, whatever you want I will give it to you. Prahlad Maharaj replies and says, Prabhupada translates, on the other hand, one who desires some material benefit, Prabhupada translates it as material benefit. Prahlad Maharaj says, Ashisha, any benefit in exchange of devotional service cannot be your pure devotee. He is no better than a merchant who wants profit in exchange for service. So this motivation has to be first given up before one can access Goloka Vrindavan. And if one doesn't want to access Goloka Vrindavan, then Dwarka is always open. So that's a fact, because Goloka Vrindavan is not for everybody. It is meant for a select few individuals who have the proper attitude. And I could have sugar-coated and said, yes, Goloka Vrindavan is for everyone. And so, unless and until those illusions are broken, we will not have the maturity to understand what is wrong. So therefore, it is important to sometimes break certain illusions. Goloka Vrindavan is not for those who engage in Padmaniti. They may attain Vaikuntha or Dwarka, etc. But Goloka Vrindavan is out of the question for them. How can we fix the relationship? Now in the sadhak, in the stage of a sadhaka is the time to fix the relationship. Because once you are perfected, there is no fixing, that is your perfected relationship. So Padma cannot fix it now and suddenly become somebody else. Now as a sadhaka is the time to fix it, because we are a Gaudiya Vaishnava and Sri Rupa Goswami has made it clear in black and white that anybody who performs mixed devotional service will end up with mixed motivations, will not go to Goloka Vrindavan. So that is the answer to the query. Whosoever's question it was, I hope this satisfies your query to a certain degree. Alright, thank you.
There is our Govinda Valama. Yes. Can we? Yes, we have opened the window. Good.
We can also open it.
So I have a question for Hari Prasad Prabhu. It's about Dwarka Leela, because we hear from the scriptures how Mathura, Dwarka, and Vrindavan Krishna is showing different aspects of being perfect, more perfect, most perfect, and now we have this contrasting difference from your seminar. I was just wondering, I just thought, how do we look at Dwarka Leela now, which is still a big part of the 10th canto? I have mixed feelings now about Dwarka Leela when I hear everything. So how do we still appreciate the Dwarka Leela and Rukmini Krishna? Like, how do we look at it now?
So I will try to first answer, then I will give to His Holiness Shachinandan Maharaj so that he can also add his realizations to what I have said. Often in devotee circles, we are told, we should balance everything. Balance work and life. Balance your, try to balance everything, devotional life and material life. Let me say something, anything worth living for is worth spoiling the balance. The balance and all looks good on paper. And it looks good in those fantastic stock images which they show on Google. That's all good. But any goal which is worth living for is worth spoiling your life balance for. We could have told Srila Prabhupada, balance your work and spirituality. And then we wouldn't have ISKCON. ISKCON is possible because Prabhupada spoiled his work for the sake of his devotional service. So anything worth living is worth spoiling your balance for. And therefore, Sri Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Krishnam Smaran Janam Chasya Preshtham Nija Samihitam. And this is the indication Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Krishnam Smaran Janam Chasya. Remember Krishna always and his dear devotees. Nija Samihitam, those who are dear to your mood. And Kuryad Vasam Vraje Sada, always reside in Vraja. Now Rupa Goswami could have, why Rupa Goswami are you biased towards Vraja? Well, that is Rupa Goswami. He will not say that, Kuryad Vasam Dwarkayam Sada. So this is because Rupa Goswami's own conception of balancing the material world is no longer there. He's already, the balance has tipped in favor of Goloka Vrindavan long back. He is eternally a resident of Goloka Vrindavan. In the 10th canto commentaries, in the Vrindavan section, the Acharyas have immensely detailed commentaries. In the Dwarka section, these short paragraphs. So I've seen through the commentary, and now I know why, because that is where the love of their life is. So gradually you are supposed to become more and more focused on one particular aspect. Other aspects you can in general read, and you can relish whatever you find relevant to your own bhajan. But then devotional service is to go from generalization to specialization. And that specialization a Gaudiya Vaishnava is supposed to find in Sri Vrindavan. So I hope that satisfies your query to some degree, but for further elaboration, I'd like to give it to His Holiness Sachidananda Maharaj.
Thank you very much. And our spiritual discussion, there comes at one stage in your life the question, who's your Ishta Devata? Who's the Lord of your heart whom you wish to worship? That may not come in the very beginning, but after some time, if you are serious in developing a relationship, the question of Ishta Devata must be addressed. So we have heard a lot here of Vrindavan Krishna. It's or even of Srimati Radharani. It seems that is the Ishta Devata of Hari Parshat and other speakers as well. And for you, it's now time to see where am I? What is who's my Ishta Devata? Now, once you have determined who's your Ishta Devata, something very interesting will happen. You will see him appear everywhere. You will, when you hear, for instance, Dwarka Leela, you will think, well, this is my Krishna. But he said in Dwarka, he wants to go back to Vrindavan. Can you see how the perspective of the Ishta Devata influences even your relationship to all other Leelas? When you hear about Nrsimhadev, you will think, oh, that my Lord, he's a little angry here. And in this way, you will see him everywhere. This goes so far that a devotee even sees the Lord in the material world. He doesn't see the material world as moving and non-moving entities. He sees that my Lord is everywhere. Yes, he is dressed now with material energy of earth, water, fire, air, and so on. But my Lord is nevertheless here. So this Ishta Devata question is very important. Perhaps, Krishna consciousness has to be natural. If it is not yet important for you, who is the Lord of your life, then welcome. You have a lot to learn in this movement. And then it will, after some time, become clear. You have to question. You have to search for him directly and indirectly. Yes. Good. Other questions? Oh, somebody. I don't know. How would you? Yes, Vishwadev. Vishwadev is our Vishwadev. He is actually taking care of the project, overlooking everything. That is Vishwadev. Yes.
Let me ask you maybe for, there's so many stories from Mahabharata
and Ramayana, Leelas, can we ask you what's your personal favorite story from that you can also learn like a lesson for daily life?
From various
Well, all the stories.
Yeah. Your
Favorite story.
Favorite story. From any of the scriptures?
Yeah.
Which is my favorite story? So many. Where did you begin?
Yes, the information overload, so many, and then we cannot speak. Our tongue is like a stick. Transfixed. Well, I must say, at various times in my life, various Leelas take on a precedent. When I'm in Vrindavan, for instance, I very much think of the Leelas of Srimati Radharani and Krishna. And when I'm in the West, I have one favorite story. You will laugh about it. I will just tell it very briefly. It's Itihasa. I read it in a publication. It's like this. It shows how Krishna makes arrangement for everyone, and everything happens according to his plan. I like to, as a devotee, be in that consciousness that everything of my life is arranged by Krishna. He's everywhere. So this is the story. You will like it. I will tell it very briefly, and then I will give the microphone to Hari Pasha Prabhu and Keshava Maharaj. We want your favorite Leela pastimes. Get ready. Pierce through the information overload and catch one. Perhaps there is not even one favorite. Anyways, in the West, this is my personal favorite story. It is the outset or the beginning of the Battle of Kurukshetra. Both armies are poised for battle, awaiting that the generals of each side blow in their conch shell and thus inaugurate the dance of war. There's tension in the atmosphere. Arjuna is ready, he's waiting until the blowing of the conch shell starts. So at this moment, a little bird lands on the... please help me, Keshava Maharaj, you are knowing of English very good. You know what is in between the horses where they pull the... No.
Yoke.
The yoke, yeah. It's a stick which is connecting the chariot to the horses. We call it the Deichsel in German language. No, it's the thing on the chariot. Left and right are the horses of this. Or it's a small thing there at the beginning of the chariot, to which the horses are yoked. So a little bird lands and speaks in a human voice. We talk about stories, right? I can't believe it. The most cultured person, Arjuna, is thinking by violence anything can be solved. And what disturbs me entirely is that Bhagavan Shri Krishna is going to, he has given permission for this war to happen. This is really surprising. I'm really disappointed with you, Arjuna and Krishna. So Krishna looks at Arjuna and tells Arjuna to give the answer. Arjuna says, see, this is not about violence, it's about establishing Dharma. So he explains like this. And the bird says, yes, yes, but you never think of me. What is now? Yeah, I'm a bird who puts his nest on the floor. I'm there taking care of my children. We are floor dwellers. And I've just started a new nest, and it's right in between the two armies, and it will be destroyed because you humans have your war for Dharma, no whatever. So Krishna smiles. The blowing of the conch shell has not yet happened. He gestures to Arjuna with his eyes, and Arjuna understands. He draws his Gandiva bow. Everyone starts to tremble. My God, but we have not yet started. First conch shell, then Gandiva bow. And he aims his arrow. It comes to the bell of an elephant on the other side. The arrow lifts, knocks the bell off the elephant. The bell flies over half of the battlefield and boom, lands in the middle of the battlefield. By that time, the bird has disappeared. So then the conch shells are blown. I forgot who starts. Was it Grandfather Bhishma who blew first, and then Bhima, and there is a fierce battle for 18 days, and at the end of the battle, Krishna tells Arjuna, now bring the chariot to our friend. And they go right into the middle of the battlefield where the bell is, and Arjuna lifts the bell, and the little bird is there with his siblings and says, thank you, because it was a bomb-safe shelter which had been created by the bell. Thank you very much, O Bhagavan, for caring for even us, the birds. So I like this story very much. You spoke of stories because I also think Krishna makes arrangement for me. He has protected me when I was in car accidents. He has been at my side when I was in surgery. He was there leading the knife of the surgeon. He has helped me when it was very painful to briefly leave my body during surgery and see everything from under the ceiling. The Lord has been always with me, has always protected me, has always created a bell over me, which is that is what I like in the best, the story. I like many stories, but I wanted to share. This is who I am. I like to see that the hands of Krishna are there for me and taking care of me. Hare Krishna. I'm very
I'm still struggling. I think, well, for me, one of my favorite books is Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he glorifies the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says, Chaitanya Charitamrita Nitya Karapan Jaha Hoite Premananda Bhakti Tattva Gyan. He says, oh brothers or sisters, read Chaitanya Charitamrita every single day, because by doing so, two things will happen. Bhakti Tattva Gyan, you'll learn all the secrets of devotion and how to devotionally relate to the devotees and to the Supreme Lord. And the second thing is Jahavaite Premananda, you'll experience wonderful happiness of the heart, happiness of love. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, my favorite section is the Antya Leela. The first, I think, 13 chapters of the Antya Leela are all about Mahaprabhu coming to Jagannath Puri and now just having all these beautiful interactions with his devotees. So now Mahaprabhu comes back to Puri and he won't move from Puri. But before he goes into the Gambhira and before he secludes himself and goes into the ecstasy of Radha Bhav, first what he does for some time is he spends time with all of his devotees. And this section is very, very beautiful because you can see what Mahaprabhu is doing is he's creating a community of love. His interactions with the devotees in this section are mind-blowing. The way he relates to Raghunath Das Goswami when Raghunath Das Goswami runs away from home and comes to Puri is heart-touching. How he relates to Sanatan Goswami who wants to commit suicide and Mahaprabhu tells him, how can you damage this body? You have given your body to me, you've surrendered it. You're a thief. How can you claim it to be your own and destroy it in this way? I have many things that I want to achieve through your body. Very, very beautiful how they interact, how Mahaprabhu appreciates his humility. And then Mahaprabhu relates to Rupa Goswami and how Mahaprabhu is glorifying Rupa Goswami in front of all the devotees and how Mahaprabhu is so proud of how what kind of poetry he is producing and how he has actually understood the deepest truths of rasa. But perhaps for me the most beautiful interaction in this section is Mahaprabhu's interaction with Haridas Thakur. This is, it can bring tears to the eyes of even a stone-hearted person. Because how Haridas Thakur says that I have two anxieties in this world. One is how will everyone be delivered? But the other anxiety is for myself. How will I be able to tolerate seeing you pass away from this world? Please Mahaprabhu, you allow me to pass away before you, seeing you with my own eyes. And in that way you will save me from this terrible fate of having to see your disappearance. And in this way then we hear the narration of how Mahaprabhu comes to the place of Haridas Thakur, holds his hand, and how in the hands of Mahaprabhu Haridas Thakur leaves the world, and how Mahaprabhu takes Haridas Thakur's body in his hands and he dances in the courtyard, and then he takes the body with his own hands and bathes Haridas Thakur's body in the Jagannath ocean, and how he comes back and with his own hands places Haridas Thakur's body in the samadhi, and then how Mahaprabhu with his own hands goes around begging for alms for a feast in honor of Haridas Thakur. And it's so incredible to see how Mahaprabhu lovingly interacts with his devotees. It's very, very beautiful. So I like this section very much because Mahaprabhu creates a community of love, and perhaps what we seek most. Tadera jana rasevi bhakta samivas janame janame hoy ei abhilash. The Narottam says, life after life, all I desire is to live in the company of loving Vaishnavas. And so in this section of the Chaitanya Charitamrita we see this very, very beautiful.
And yes, it is very difficult to point out one particular story or incident, since there are different rasas and different pastimes of different rasas have different attractiveness, so it is very difficult to pinpoint something. But there are two specific pastimes which have different rasas involved, which are dear to me. One time my Guru Maharaj was asked what is the glory of Srila Prabhupada. So he spontaneously quoted a verse from the Mahatmya there is a literature in Padma Puran, there is a section which glorifies Srimad Bhagavatam. Narad Muni sees Bhakti Devi crying alone with her two sons, Gyan and Vairagya. And Gyan and Vairagya, knowledge and detachment alone by themselves are not able to do anything. So Bhakti Devi is crying there. At that time, Narad Muni, he spontaneously raises his veena and he makes a promise to Bhakti Devi. And he spontaneously quoted the verse at that point of time. And this verse is found in this particular section of Bhagavad Mahatmya, that Narad Muni says, Anya dharman stiraskritya puraskritya mahotsavan yadi pravartayena tvam tada daso harer nahi. He says, Anya dharman stiraskritya. If by putting aside, if by trivializing all other forms of religiosity and puraskritya mahotsavan and propagating festivals related to devotional service, if I do not do these two activities in Kali Yuga, then I will no longer be known as a servant of Hari. At that point of time, Narad Muni takes a vow that I will take a personal vow that I will make sure that other forms of religiosity are trivialized and Bhakti Devi is propagated immensely in this age. This is my vow, otherwise I will no longer be known as a servant of Sri Krishna. And then he said, it is Srila Prabhupada who fulfilled this prophecy of Narad Muni. So this is one, and it also connects with the fact that when devotees used to ask devotees used to ask Prabhupada about the Kirtan, and Prabhupada used to say, didn't you see Narad Muni was here? So this is one particular pastime which is dear to me. Another is the pastime which my revered Shiksha Guru, Srimad Gaur Govind Maharaj, he left this world thinking about. This is the pastime of Jagannath and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looking eye to eye. But there's a big backstory behind it. But that is the pastime which always stokes a lot of emotions within the heart, because there is no literature specifically on Kurukshetra Leela. There are a few verses here and there interspersed. There is no literature, Gaudiya Vaishnava literature per se on Kurukshetra Leela. So, but Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur said, I want to perform my bhajan at Kurukshetra. At one time he said, I want to perform my bhajan at Kurukshetra, because service should be rendered where it is most needed, and it was most needed at Kurukshetra. So these are some of the stories which always stoke some emotions within me, and I hope that satisfies your query. Thank you. Hare
So there are many questions. Can they all merge into one? Maybe. Yes. Do you have a?
Hare Krishna. The question is for Hariprasad Prabhu and Keshava Maharaj. Hariprasad Prabhu, you said in the morning, somebody asked the question that the Guru puts the seed of doubt in disciples' mind, and yesterday Keshava Maharaj said that Krishna condemns the doubters. And what if the doubt what if the doubt leads to something extreme and
The question is putting both of us against each other.
In English they call this stirring up trouble.
One second, what is the crux of the question? I said that Guru puts some doubts, and Maharaj said the doubter is the worst. So the Guru is the worst. No. While teaching a student, there is a traditional technique which is employed. This is especially in teaching Shastra, Vishayo samshayaschaiva purvapakshasthathottaram nirnayascheti siddhantam shastredhikaranam smritam. First the Guru gives Vishay, the topic that we are teaching today. Then samshay, doubt. Now here arises a doubt. Why did Krishna take Arjuna in the middle of the battlefield? For answering this, the next verse is there. So you see all the traditional commentators, they begin with nanu, now a doubt. The Sanskrit term is nanu, a doubt. Why does Krishna say this? And then in reply to this, the verse answers. So when the Guru puts a seed of doubt, it is along with the answer to the doubt. It just doesn't put the seed and then leave you with the doubt. Unless the Guru has an answer, the Guru will not put a doubt in it. The Guru is himself doubtful. He will rather first find the answer himself. And what Maharaj was saying is, after so many instructions from the Guru, after hearing 10,000 hours or 10,000 lectures, after hearing 10,000 lectures, if a person is still harboring doubts due to previous samskaras, then that person, in the Bhagavad Gita, it's not Maharaj's personal opinion, in the Bhagavad Gita it is specified that that person is picked out. And not the verse, Krishna says, Nayam loko na paro na sukham asti. He says that for him there is not this world nor the next world. Commentators explain, for a doubtful person, when they go out and do material enjoyment, their spiritual life puts them into guilt. And when they come to the devotee association, their material life puts them into guilt. So neither here nor there. So they are like Jarasandh being torn apart into two pieces repeatedly. And so that is what happens with such people. It is not for those, when the Guru puts the doubt, he gives the answer to the doubt along with. So I hope that answers your query, but for further elaboration.
I have no doubt that this is a perfect answer. The function of a sadhu is twofold. We can summarize the function of a sadhu in two things. Number one, to create faith. And number two, to create doubt. A sadhu, their whole purpose in life is to create faith in Krishna and to create doubt in material life. So when the sadhu is putting doubt in you, then he's putting doubt. What type of doubt? Doubt in material life. But when Krishna is talking about the doubting soul, then that doubting soul is doubting what? Not doubting material life. They're doubting Krishna. So therefore, this is the point, that the nature of the doubt also matters.
Wonderful. Before we go to the live audience, we have here Holy Pot. Hare Krishna. My humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Since childhood, I always wanted to be in the center of everyone's attention. I have this desire deeply rooted inside me, to be popular, honored, glorified, and adored. He is an honest person, But I understand that this mood doesn't go along with Vaishnava mood. How can I get rid of these desires? How to become more humble and simple? Thank you. I'm laughing. I think you are relieved that finally someone is honest. You will have to purify the mind or the heart. The impure heart is full of concepts of I and mine, very vulnerable when this I and me is not strengthened, but when and very envious when one sees that others are more honored, their I and mine is more honored. And the process of Krishna consciousness is a transformation of the heart where you can put Krishna in the center. And that is a process of purification. Really, without purification of the heart, these self-centered desires of aham mameti, they are very difficult to root out. Very difficult. They come they come in very various forms. These desires to be glorified. Once a devotee came to Srila Prabhupada, wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada, and there was this Burijam Prabhu was in the room, and Prabhupada said, I got this letter. And the devotee said, I'm the most insignificant and the most humble person, and I have a very big problem. So Prabhupada wrote this. And then Prabhupada said, just see. He says he's very insignificant, but he has a very big and important problem. Just see. Now, you are not laughing any longer, but this is the problem. We sometimes think we are the most humble, the most fallen, the most... Prabhupada said, you're not the most anything. Yes, and then Prabhupada, he said, I wish I could train all of my disciples personally. And what this means is to come away from this desire to be the most something, even if I have to be the most fallen, as long as I'm the most anything, it's good. And come to the point that we think of Krishna. And according to my understanding, this is not so easy. When you are not pure in your mind, you will feel insecure when you are not glorified. You will be overlooked. You will have problems like FOMO, fear of missing out. This is a new psychological thing. And you will look at your Facebook. Why did this post only have 29 likes? and so-and-so, who's less qualified than me, had with his post 5 million likes, and so on. But once you find your true identity as a servant of Krishna, you're just happy to be the servant of Krishna. With a pure heart, you are no longer troubled by the tyranny of this mameti thing. But it's not artificial. You won't learn this in self-development schools. It is happening when the heart is purified and the understanding of who we are is coming forward, and peace with this and happiness with this, it comes. I also want to add to this, I was a very driven person when I was in material life. I personally had the fortune to join Krishna consciousness with 16 years, but then I came into this culture which was there in ISKCON, that we always felt we had to excel, we had to make the most book distribution points, compete. Then when I became a preacher and new devotees came, we had a list, international list, Sika points that referred to how many we had shaved up in 1 week, and so on. And there was a fierce competition in spiritual life, and I grew up in this culture of competition, which sometimes creates the race of the egos competing with each other. It was not meant like this, but the Westerners took it like that. And only now, where I'm a little older and I'm seeing the sunset of my life, it's not so far any longer, I begin to think, is that the only thing which matters? How much Lakshmi you collected, how many likes you have? What's about developing love for Krishna? Is that of value? What's about chanting nicely and feeling the presence of Krishna in His holy name? Isn't that important also? My dear devotees, ISKCON's culture can be dangerous. We are a society of human beings, and human beings have an I and me spirit, and competition is there very much. Is my lecture better than the lecture of someone else? Is the applause longer than the applause of Hari Prasad? Oh no, it's not. He needs more applause. Ooh, my life is destroyed today. This is very dangerous. If at the end of our life we end like this, what will we become? What will be our future? And so on. And as we become older, we think this might be a wrong culture. Yes, for Krishna's service we might we give our best, and we and so on, and we are next to our God brothers, but we don't value them less and value ourselves more than some. It's not. That's not important. That's the Bhaktisiddhanta has Saraswati Thakur, he calls this desire for fame and glory running for the stool of a hog. Already stool is very infectious and bad. Now when the hog eats it and then passes it, it's doubly problematic. You know. So he compares this desire of glories like this, going for this. Therefore, it is important to ask ourselves the question, what am I here for? I want to develop love for Krishna. I want to enter that reality. I want to please Krishna. I want to give him a smile by developing love for him and affection for him. But it might take some time, really. Only now, after now when I'm older, I begin to see, you were really immature, Sachidananda Swami, when you were racing with everyone else to get first to the line of the first prize, I wouldn't associate with you, Sachidananda Swami. I would say, see me in 20 years. Hare Krishna.
They say in the first 20 years you're very concerned what people think about you. In the second 20 years you don't care what people think about you anymore. And in the final 20 years you realize nobody was thinking about
Truth spoken concisely is true eloquence. This question was not asked to any particular individual, so it ended up being circulated amongst all of us. I find it little ironical that somebody who is sitting on a higher chair should be asked this question, because they're already on the receiving end of some respect. Perhaps the question can be best answered by somebody who is serving quietly in a corner, because frankly speaking, it is difficult to be on the receiving end of respect. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in that position when he returned from South India. The first time he came to Jagannath Puri, not many people knew him. And then he, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya got convinced and that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went on a tour of South India. When he came back, the king was eager to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew there is a problem at this point of time. They have turned an individual into an institution. And they want Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be institutionalized as a historic personality. It was that year that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed an activity that he had not performed before, that is the cleansing of the Gundicha temple. It was performed that year. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not happy with the first cleaning, so he ordered a second cleaning. And that second cleaning, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, it represents the desire for fame, etc. The main term is Pratishtha Asha. Asha is important term here. Fame by itself is not bad. Hunger for fame is what is bad. So it's important to distinguish. It's not that those who are famous in the movement are necessarily bad people, but if they are hungry for it, that is what causes the problem. We have to understand that famous people often live a very miserable life. For one person to be famous, there have to be 1,000 people who are not famous. For one person to be the leader, there have to be 1,000 people who are not leaders. And those who are not leaders and not famous are not going to take it easily. And therefore, the intense scrutiny to which those who are famous are subjected. You can see in the society outside, the movie stars, etc. are the ones who are most critiqued on the internet. All they want at the end of the day is to go to their home, close their door and lie down on the bed and have nothing to do with the world. So this is often the case with those who are glorified in the society. It comes at a great cost. In Ramcharitmanas, there is a very famous quote, Lokamanyata analasam kar sabak kar tapakanana daho. Fame and recognition is like a forest fire which burns away the trees of penance performed in previous lives. So it is Lokamanyata, recognition by society. Analasam is like a great fire. Kar tapakanana dahu, it burns away the forest of austerities committed in previous lives. So we have to understand that some person who is being given the center stage, they are at a big loss. There's a big loss for them. Unless they get their bhajan in place, and that too very seriously, it's not going to happen. So, I'll conclude with this thing. It is very incorrect to put our faith in things which are ruled by uncertain destiny. It's stupidity to put our faith in things which are ruled by destiny. Because in the 5th century there was an Italian philosopher, his name was Boethius, and he was a well-to-do person in life. He was born in a rich family and he was an aristocrat. One day the king's soldiers falsely implicated him in some treachery case and put him in prison. So in a single day his life's fortunes reversed. One day he was an aristocrat, next day he is in prison. And when he left his home, his wife was crying, his children were crying. In prison he was not going to meet anyone. In this prison he wrote a book called The Consolations of Philosophy. This is by the Italian philosopher Boethius in the 5th century. It is one of the great works of philosophy in the Western world. And in that he says, in prison there was a deity which appeared to me, the deity of knowledge, I think, Saraswati Devi maybe. And she said, you are a fool, Boethius. Why do you put your faith in Lady Luck? In the Western world there is a deity of fortune. she has a wheel, the wheel of fortune, which what we say. So the wheel of fortune in the Western world, it represents, and all of us are sitting on this wheel. And Lady Luck likes to spin the wheel. So when you're going up on the wheel, it all feels nice. But you know, there's only one reason why you're going up on the wheel. What is the reason? She loves this, dear devotees. She loves this. But at the end of the day, we should have some purpose in life. That if everything else was taken away from me, what will I do? If that is in place, everything else can be sorted out. What is that which the wheel of fortune cannot take away from us? So therein lies our true happiness. Thank you.
It's very nice to discuss. I see Harsh. Prabhu, please. There is a microphone, I believe. Oh, Mataji, Harsh, can we do like this? I promised this Mataji. She's already since yesterday. She has a hand up. So then after.
Hare Krishna. I would like to address my question to His Grace Hari Prasad Prabhu. I keep asking this question to different devotees and I get different answers. So I would like to ask you, how do I know who's my spiritual master? How I can understand it?
This was a big dilemma in my personal life too, because I myself took a good 10 years before I sought somebody as Diksha Guru. And the other devotees were on my case, but you know, is he like going to take initiation directly from Prabhupada or something? So, and you know those typical statements, Prabhu, you're reading too much, you'll get deviated. So all of that was also there. So when we are trying to find a spiritual master by our estimation, we are in fact projecting our mental qualities of a guru on a certain individual. The guru is actually not to be found, because the guru is not a commodity on a shelf in a supermarket. The guru is somebody who finds us. The guru is Krishna's arrangement for us. That is the most ideal scenario described in Shastra. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita confirms this fact. It says, Krishna yadi kripa kare, kono bhagyavane, Guru antaryami rupe shikhaya apane. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 22:47. When he is kind to some fortunate conditioned soul, he personally gives him lessons so he can progress in devotional service, instructing the person as the super soul within and the spiritual master outside. So it is Krishna's arrangement that we have to wait for. And what is the meaning of Krishna's arrangement? I don't want to leave it at something vague. That when we are sincere in our prayers to Sri Krishna, when we cry to Sri Krishna, please send me a guru who can direct me towards your prema. I don't want anything else. And when Krishna sees the sincerity in the heart of the devotee, Krishna automatically makes sure we are attracted to a person of the same caliber. And that is Krishna's arrangement for us. Now it may happen that certain individuals may select a guru without this knowledge. But our parampara is mainly Shiksha parampara. So at any point of time we can also pray to Krishna to find a Shiksha guru of that caliber. So that is how we find a Diksha Guru or Shiksha Guru, because amongst both of them they are considered to be equal. For some individuals, their relationship with the Diksha Guru doesn't work out so well. What do? So they have to try to find a Shiksha Guru. For example, in history we have Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, whose relationship with his Diksha Guru was a little strained. We don't know much about this, we have not heard much about this. But he intensely prayed to Sri Krishna to give him a Shiksha Guru who came in the form of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji. So, at all points of time, we have the opportunity to pray to Krishna to send an unconventional spiritual master who can revolutionize our lives by the teachings of Shastra aimed at the sole purpose of achieving Krishna Prem. That is the answer. I hope that satisfies you.
We go on with questions because we all contribute to one question. Then it will be long. There is Harsh. Thank you. It was a wonderful answer.
Hare Krishna. This question, I guess, is for anyone who wants to answer.
You have to press on that.
Oh, there you go. Hold it in.
Hare Krishna. Okay, that's good. Yeah, this question is for anyone who wants to answer. I was just thinking about how the future of the movement will really depend on the younger generation. I was just wondering if you see anything that's lacking in the younger generation that might impact the future of the movement, or that might be a concern for the future. Essentially, like, what do you think we could improve on, or any feedback for us?
I got the mic. I'm the younger generation, my dad once said to my brother, who's also in the younger generation, he said, the difference between my generation and your generation is we had one job in 30 years. You guys have 30 jobs in 1 year. And he was making the point about how in this generation for anyone to be committed to anything is very, very difficult. It's incredible in this generation above ours, the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. It's incredible to see the level of commitment. Devotees went to a country, devotees started a temple, and then they just stayed there for 1 decade, for 2 decades, for 3 decades, and they never moved. And there's something incredible about that commitment. That when one really makes a commitment and dedicates themselves, there's this one letter of Srila Prabhupada, I don't know, maybe you could find it. Prabhupada says, maybe you can research on kill the restless spirit. Once I was thinking of leaving the manor, which periodically happens. When I was in Mayapur, usually when someone goes to Mayapur for an extended time, it can mean a crisis in their spiritual life. Sometimes happens. So I was coming out of the ILS meeting, and I was thinking, should I move, and then yes, this is the one. Then there was a big banner, and this quote was on it. So Prabhupada says, so try to impress this fact. We should kill this restless spirit. Enthusiasm and patience, these things are required. If under changing conditions I lose my enthusiasm, if I cannot endure the difficulties of my duty, therefore I go away, then how I can be leader? These things must be understood. Otherwise, the whole thing will fail. I think this is such a beautiful lesson we can learn from our elders whether it was in the manor where so many devotees stayed for decades, whether it's someone like Rida Chaitanya Prabhu who just stayed in Radhadesh for so many years, and of course here so many leaders I'm not aware, but I'm sure this is what the movement was built upon. So I think this quality of commitment is in the instant culture that we're living in today, where everyone just wants an instant experience and is ready to just hop and move and be very restless. It can be harmful to the development of the movement. These are some thoughts, but please.
Wonderful. Yeah. That we really learned, our generation, when we were disciples of Srila Prabhupada, he impressed upon us that he wanted us to take responsibilities, and when there would be difficulties, he would encourage us to overcome the difficulties and not run away. Very nice. Yes, then we have seen this idea of commitment. It is lacking everywhere in society. People don't commit to relationships. There's so many divorces everywhere. They're so flickering. But the bigger things in life are given to you when you commit. That is there. Yes, let us see. Maybe yes. Yes, go ahead.
Time-wise,
yeah, there is. Let us maybe make a little reflective pause now. We have.
They were supposed to have half an hour break and your seminar at 6:30.
We have now a little past 6, and there was. I'm repeating Dora Hari. We wanted to make a little pause and then start with the last part of the Holy Leela. But I feel it's a very, very good atmosphere. It is very helpful and very inspiring. So, because this is the last day, we can, be a little flexible to go later into the evening. What do you all think? And also, Kesava Maharaj and Haripasha Prabhu, should we perhaps go half an hour longer, or should we go longer than half an hour? What?
I'm okay with any time.
Yes, I'm also. I have my bed. I can go any time. Let us just reflect intelligently. What would you all say if we extend now for half an hour, and after half an hour we look again?
Yes.
Because we have to see how it flows, and also how attentive we are, because perhaps a certain stage you're never satiated. That's a good thing about this group. Okay, so let us continue. Is there yes, air is available. I would say I've not given enough time. Our Mataji's, perhaps our Meshwari, would you ask your question?
Hare Krishna. I have a question for you, Maharaj, Satyananda Maharaj. We hear that Krishna is not attracted to awe and reverence. But how can we as devotees, because we cannot pretend that we are in that level of spiritual life to treat Krishna like Krishna's my buddy, or how we hear sometimes in the stories. So I'm wondering, what should be our attitude towards this? Should we aspire to have that relationship? But at the same time we have to still have that respect for Krishna. So just a little, that's my question.
Yes.
first and foremost in your bhakti, be real. If you imitate, pretend, especially you can perhaps imitate humility and pretend to be and so on and you know they say fake it until you make it. On with certain things it may be alright as long as you don't think when you fake something you have already made it, you know. In other words, if you're still practicing to reach somewhere that you become overly proud, think I have reached there already. Yes, there is this aspect in doing it, but I really feel when it comes to a relationship to Krishna, with Krishna, if we try to approach Krishna in a relationship which is where we imagine ourselves into something, Krishna will not be very impressed. Isn't it? When in a relationship we look even on the human level for someone who is real, not who pretends to be something and so on. One devotee came to me and said, Maharaj, I like so much that you listen to me when I speak to you. And I said, I will tell you my secret. I listen more to what you don't say to me than to what you say. I have learned that many people are not speaking their hearts, and then they're not real, and they fake something, and then how can we have a relationship like this? So in spiritual life there is a factor called kalpana, imagination, and that is not good. When you approach Krishna, when you read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the best way to approach him is as his servant. And in all relationships, including the Madhurya Rasa, this feeling of serving Krishna, giving him pleasure, is first and foremost. So when you start in your bhakti, you should offer service, and as you offer service, the heart is becoming more purified, and then you will find all kinds of attractions to Krishna. The way Prabhupada speaks about this development of attraction is very interesting. Please listen to this. He says, when a devotee, while hearing Krishna's pastime, feels an attraction, a natural attraction to a particular pastime, this could be an indication of his constitutional position in relationship to Krishna. So what we do is we act as servants and we listen to Krishna's pastimes, and as we listen to Krishna's pastime, something is attractive to us. Now if you feel and you should go by that attraction. I want to end my statements by something I read from a godbrother of Srila Prabhupada. He spoke of a wild goose spirituality. What is that? That is something you can learn in Golokadam. In Golokadam you will find around this time, when you walk through the forest, terrible noise in the forest. It is frightening sometimes if you don't know what it is. What is it? These are the wild goose who are now migrating from North Africa to go back to the northern habitations in Norway and Sweden. And they stop here because here there are lakes, here's a nature protected area, he has food for them and everything. And then they will make a stop here, eat, rest, perhaps heal their goose wounds and so on, and then continue their strenuous flight back up north. How do these wild goose know how to fly? They have no Google Maps. They have no other conventional maps. How do they know how to fly? They know this by the Paramatma in the heart, the Lord in the heart, who connects all. And then you know, okay, let me, like a wild goose, follow this inclination in the heart. This is the wild goose spirituality, or to put it in more Shastic terms, it's relying on the Lord and the heart, who is there, who gives us knowledge and remembrance and forgetfulness. So the worst thing you can do is you can see, oh my God, everyone talks now, Krishna, you are a rascal, and should I also do this? And you feel, wait a minute, I'm dressing Krishna on the altar. If I just today I don't dress you, you are a rascal. Something was wrongly understood. It was not. That was not the intention of what it is. Follow the inspiration. And you will see, you get more inspiration and intuition if you hear more and more about Krishna, how he is, how he looks, how he dresses, what he likes, what he does not like, and then you feel inspired and you go there. But Kalpana, in our movement, there are always fads. There were different types of fads in relationship to Krishna, in relationship to the rasas. I could tell you many, many inside stories of fads, and devotees try to follow these fads. After all, I have to be dressed in the newest fashion, which is there, and then found themselves not in an authentic spiritual path, but in an imagined path which did not serve their spiritual advancement very well. So listen and to the different pastimes, and then you will feel some inclination, and that is good. That is your adhikar. That is your qualification. I must say I'm very, very, very grateful for the presentations of Hari Parshad, because he opens our eyes to a dimension which we have many times overlooked, and he opens this dimension through the voice of Rupa Goswami, our foundational teacher of we are Rupanugas, and in this way we hear, and some of you I have seen have developed a very, very good attraction. One of you has even painted a beautiful piece of art based on the attraction, and for her this is the sign that she should go in this direction. That is a part in the life which may have been forgotten. And others of you might hear verses from Rupa Goswami which are presented where other things are described, and in this way you will follow there. Be real. Don't do kalpana. imagination. It won't bring you very far. Lies have always short legs, who break after some time. Hare Krishna. Yeah.
So yes, I see Lara there. Lara is new devotee, so we want to hear also new devotee's voice. Please speak.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. So my question is maybe slightly different. I would like to ask about the art of grieving. And I know that a lot of people are afraid to express their feelings. I include myself. And I know that a lot of people numb their feelings, or they distract themselves, or they do spiritual bypass and all these things. And my question is now, how can we view grief as an opportunity to deep our devotion? Or in other words, how can we grieve in the mood of devotion?
Yeah.
That's my question.
I have an inkling this is a question for Keshava Maharaj. We are preparing.
So, Bhakti is a tradition of relationships. His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu was talking so beautifully today about how detachment and having a hard heart is so antithetical to developing pure love for Krishna. So if you look at the English translation, Hari Parshad Prabhu only brings the... we need the English. Then, this is more achievable for us. So Narottam Das Thakur, just see his divine grief. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where has such a personality as Srinivasacharya gone? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? Where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. Narottam Das Thakur ki jai. Arjuna, he had a son, Abhimanyu. And Arjuna heard the whole Bhagavad Gita from Arjuna. Arjuna heard from Krishna. And Krishna, the very first thing he told Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Asocyanan vasocastvam pragyavadamscha bhashashe gatasun agatasumscha nanusochanti pandita. Do not lament. Krishna told Arjuna, the wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Krishna was teaching the science of the soul. But then on the 10th day, Abhimanyu died. Abhimanyu, Arjuna's son, was caught in the Chakravyuha and mercilessly killed by the Kaurava army. As soon as Arjuna heard that news, then he told Krishna to take his chariot to that place in the battlefield. And Mahabharata beautifully explains of how Arjuna reached that place, and when he saw his son, and Krishna was right there, then Arjuna came. He came off the chariot, he came to see his son, and with tears in his eyes he began weeping. Now Krishna was right there, and he didn't
peer over Arjun's shoulder and say, Asochan, Arvasojastvam. No. Krishna stood there with Arjun and supported him through his grief. If you can't cry, what kind of heart do you have? In one Vaishnav tradition, one disciple, he came to his guru and he said, my wife died. No, he said, I'm ready for sannyas. His guru said, really? What happened? He said, my wife died and I didn't even cry. So the guru looked back at him and said, go and get married again. He said, because if you can't cry for your wife, how you will cry for Krishna? And if you can't cry for Krishna, what's the value of your renunciation? So the Vaishnav tradition is a Vaishnav of is a tradition of deep relationship. So yes, Arjun wept. But the difference between Arjun's lamentation at the beginning of the Kurukshetra and Arjun's grief when Abhimanyu died was that when Abhimanyu died, Arjun grieved. But then at the very next moment, he picked up his bow. He got back on the chariot and he continued on in life with determination. Whereas in the beginning, when Arjun grieved, Gandivam Shram Shade Hastat, the Gandiva bow was slipping. So spiritual grief means, yes, a heart of lamentation, a heart of pain, a heart of feeling of separation and loss, but at the same time a heart of determination, a heart of hope, and a heart in which we continue on in life. When someone leaves our life, we know life will never be the same again. But we also know that life can still be beautiful. Life will never be the same, and that causes pain and separation. But life can still be beautiful, and therefore we get up and continue on in life. So grief is so much a part of Vaishnav culture, but a type of grief in which we don't become disabled or debilitated or depressed or dejected or just dysfunctional, but a grief from which we rise to come back into the world and do more beautiful things and have more beautiful relationships.
May I also add something? Hare Krishna, what a wonderful answer, and how you spoke about this guru. I also know this particular incident, who saw this man is dysfunctional if he can't even cry when there is such a tragic loss. I would like to add something, because I in an unexpected way was facing grief. I think it feels like last year, where both my father and mother suddenly left. My father had given initially, although he was not sure that my path would be a good path in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness was very new in Europe. He had given, nevertheless, a great donation to the entire Hamburg temple so that they could go by ship and meet Srila Prabhupada. All the devotees, all the brahmacharis, brahmacharinis, grihastas, they were transported to London. Yes, and he was a good man, and so was my mother, and they left in a distance of 3 months. And I increased the volume of water of the lakes where I live with my tears. I felt, And then I remembered something I heard and practiced since many, many years in Krishna consciousness. I remembered that there are 3 types of tears. We speak of grieving. There is the tears of the body when you feel hurt and it's really and there's perhaps blood coming, or it's just intolerably painful. These are tears of the body. Then there are tears of the mind, the emotional tears, when we lose friends, when we feel misunderstood by those we considered close and near and dear. The tears of the mind or the emotions. And then there is something which is known in the language of Jagadananda Pandit as Atmakrandan, the tears of the soul. The tears of the soul are the original tears. They come when the soul awakens to its true necessity. That is, I really only miss Krishna. If I'm with Krishna, I'm satisfied. Yes, my emotions cry because I lost my father and my mother, or because this or that, I lost this and that person. Yes, that is there, and Krishna stands by our side. I like this very much in Keshava Maharaj's answer. He's not saying suppress them, put a lid on it, let the steam inside and boil you up inside. No, it's a sign of, even when Arjuna was faltering at the beginning, it's a sign of a good person if he cries. But at the end we should come to the soul, like we always should come to the real self in our life. And we should say, oh, I really want to come to this level where I really understand I'm really missing you, or I give my tears other names. I'm crying because it's too cold outside and spring has not come, or I didn't get my mobile telephone doesn't work, although I have paid so much for this foolish thing, and so on. Yes, but ultimately we should say, I'm really behind all this is the soul who has left the Lord. And here in these tears for Krishna, they are very, as Shumit would say, sweet. They are very sweet. They are very satisfying to the heart. They are washing, these tears wash away the illusions from our mind. And they are very good tears. I would like to add this. Hare Krishna. So now, should we for a time go into there might be a snake inside. Because these are anonymous questions. Anything can come out, which is very good. This is a typical Hari Prasad question. Hare Krishna, just wanted to ask that do Rukmini, his wife, doesn't get jealous. Oh, your handwriting is like a German doctor. They go like. You are a man of language.
Just wanted to ask that does Rukmini, his wife, doesn't get jealous because of Radharani's love stories with Krishna? Thank you. And there's a smiley on it.
question to you. Yeah, maybe you should rephrase it.
So, the question is, doesn't Rukmini feel some insecurity when she hears that Krishna has love for Srimati Radharani? So, there is an emotion called as asuya. Asuya is transcendental envy, which is described in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I'm sorry, there is no way to put it except for adding transcendental in front of it. Because we've been taught that spiritual world is a place where there is no envy. But the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu teaches us that there is an anubhav, there is a feeling which is called asuya. Asuya means experiencing jealousy, which is one of the aspects of experiencing Bhakti Ras. So, but in Rukmini, she is Dakshin Naika. She is very, very favorably inclined to Shri Krishna. So what to speak of Srimati Radharani? She knows that there are other queens to whom Shri Krishna is married. So the first question is, doesn't she feel insecure when she sees him with other queens? So that should be ideally the first question. But she doesn't have that nature because Krishna was her first love of life and she is eternally Krishna's consort. In past times, Krishna was her first love of life and she has married Krishna with and surrendered herself completely without any complaints. So that is her specific mood towards Krishna. And even if she gets a little bit of that feeling, her expressiveness is not as intense as Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani's expressiveness is very high in comparison. She expresses her anger and jealousy very openly in comparison to Rukmini and the other gopis. In the Gita Govinda, there is an example of this where there is a song where Shri Krishna, she is waiting for Shri Krishna the entire night, and then Shri Krishna doesn't come. He comes early next morning just before sunrise, and by looking at him, his eyes are rolling and they are reddish in color, and it is evident that Shri Krishna was basically, he was with somebody else. At that point of time, Srimati Radharani says, Rajani Janita Guru Jagara Kashaitam Alasa Nimesham. Your eyes are red and there is, all your bodily symptoms are speaking of something else. She says, Yahi Madhav, Yahi Keshav, Mavada Kaitam. Get out of here. Don't speak lies. Tam Anusara Sarasi Ruhalochana Yatava Harati Vishadam. Go to that particular lady whom you love. Don't stay here. So that is, dear devotees, Srimati Radharani. Rukmini Devi is not like this. And her nature is much more dakshina, submissive, whatever he wants, all right. It's okay. I will say yes to whatever he wants. But Srimati Radharani's nature is slightly different. She knows when to say no. So, and that's what adds flavor in the relationships, and perhaps that is why Krishna misses Srimati Radharani a lot. So whosoever it was, thank you for the smiley and
There are other questions. I think very much. This is so difficult. I saw you had your hand open. Yes, please. I think. Wait, we have a microphone for you.
Hare Krishna. Yes. I want to address the question to you, Maharaj. We and then at a certain point, if you follow these, we will be on the Sattvic platform, if I understood it correctly so far. And but then it is necessary to transcend this platform. But I was not so 100% satisfied with my imagination, or which what I learned in the course. How could we practically transcend this platform? I mean, what is meant by that? So we should differentiate between good and bad. Basically, is when we are on the good side, we are on the Sattvic platform, isn't it? So, and what does then mean to transcend it? I mean, we should not differentiate anymore between good and bad, but still do good? Or is then also bad things okay? Like, how could we understand that?
In the fourth canto, the exalted state of Lord Shiva is described. His state is absolutely transcendental. He is in Vishuddha Sattva, that is absolutely pure goodness, without any trace of tamas or rajas. Nothing is there. And in that state of consciousness, Vasudeva or Krishna is revealed. So this is a transcendental state. In this world, you cannot find pure goodness. It's always mixed a little bit with other modes. It's very rare. Maybe a great saint has this state of but some saints have been able to transcend and come to the level of pure Krishna consciousness, which is transcendental. This does not mean that now they go out and sin. No, it just means that this consciousness is absolutely transcendental or beyond the three gunas of material nature. If they would now go down to sin with this understanding, it would not be good for them.
Yes, I don't think so. But is it then meant like we should not like judge others who are bad, or what's exactly this transcendence? I mean, I don't. I mean, and then we see also like Prabhupada, when he got the deities for London Ishvara, it was also like some stealing or something. I mean, or if something disappears, like my wife's chadar, and then you found it somewhere here on the floor next day. So what should you think about these things? Should you be not upset that someone has maybe stolen, or somebody has done actually a thing which is not in the Sattvic mood? No? So how should we understand?
I can only answer your question that once Prabhupada was asked, how should a devotee be like, And I think his answer answers your query. He says he is like a perfect gentleman. So if a devotee acts differently, then he is work in progress. Hare Krishna. So here's Mathurananda. He always has intriguing questions. Yes, please, Mathurananda.
The pressure. Thank you so much for taking the time.
One moment.
I see so many devotees are standing. What if we just move a little bit in front so that maybe they get a little space in the back?
I do the evening, This is the plan. I'm saying, I'm thinking the evening could be late now. Yeah. What if you run out of what is most important? See, this evening, take a little technical discussion amongst each other. We just clarify something. This is how the plan If you wish, then we can perhaps then we could even make a break and then reconvene. That is a good idea. You will like this idea very much. Hare Krishna, Haribo, everyone. Krishna, 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 Krishna. Will you please give your good intention? I think this question and answer session goes quite well. Am I, or don't say, do you really mean yes? Or good. Then we have the following suggestion. Why not make a half an hour break now and then convene with a mixture of British and German punctuality that is really punctual in about half an hour, and then we continue. Or would you just like to go on now? Yeah.
He has a question. What about his question?
He could. The question could come. You could be the first one to ask the question, we have, and then what we do is we go as long as we wish. Then we chant. And Leela Katha, our Maharaji has said he wants me to give the Leela Katha in the morning, right? And what is with him? Yeah, what is with him? That is the question. Also, he will in the closing session say a
few words.
A few words. It's his idea. Gaurahari is not so sure. I think, Maharaj, you are. If you go early to bed, then all the problems of jet lag, which might influence your, you feel you run out of, might be gone, and then you are very.
Still needs a slot for marriages. I can carry on another time.
Gaurahari, you are the organizer. We will solve it, and it will be very. We will come to a wonderful idea.
Maybe we can give everyone a half an hour break.
So let us now do a half an hour break, bathroom break, air break, discussion break, devotion break, japa break. It is you can make it an active break, and then please be back in good time. Let us look at the wristwatch. 6:47 is now. So can you please be here at 7:15 and sit with sparkling eyes and full of freshness already. Good. I wish you a wonderful break. Hare Krishna.
So something together. It will be last minute because I haven't done anything. Instead we could go tonight.
Jaitam Prabhu, does anybody have an iPhone charger?
You understand the situation as I feel it.
So the Muslims are now in Ramadan, and in 1 week they will celebrate also Bayram. And we are celebrating Holi also. What are the connection between
I think all religions have some festival around springtime. Springtime is a very auspicious time of festival.
Apart from the timing, I think it's not that it's the lowest point, it's the low point. And it's also teaching inside, when you get out from Muslim to Krishna.
When you come to Krishna, you are automatically raised to the highest standard. You no longer remain low class.
We can say like this.
Low class is because of the habits, eating meat, or some religions allow drinking wine. Those habits is what makes somebody low class. Once you give up the habits, you are no longer low class.
How to work on my challenges, idea. And it is very good. And your contribution is like your life. You have this but life was very wonderful. So, but in this case, if it is your desire, then he can be fully present now, because ultimately, let us be ultimately, little program is nice for the we are
Just maybe we should see how we can because some might be waiting for the last part of the seminar. So in which way we can present it to the devotees so that
they should watch Krishna official YouTube channel. My only thought was that because even if I do tomorrow seminar, still I don't think I'm able to meet there will be some continue Bhakti Retreat.
Therefore, it makes sense that we go more with
Bhakti retreat and not just do one session.
Give his presentation. Krishna Maharaj will not give the last part because everything has been very well. And his last part was also delegate so much today. It will be too difficult now to prepare his last part. Does he need help? As part of the seminar. You can ask him, but it seems at the moment he's like he doesn't is if the notes are there, don't do it. He designs it I was writing him and he was saying something from last minute because I'm just so busy with preaching and engagement. So I feel like the same purpose. I think the question was how the devotees are fully into it.
Any session, Maharaj?
Hari will be there.
We just want to say something for 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, to close final reflections. Yes. Wonderful. Are you discussing with Hari?
I just updated him of what we were discussing.
Also for tomorrow. Somehow your name was, it was a typing mistake.
Actually, the one with the newsletter was alright. The one we did the poster was the last year.
From my heart. Let me thank you 1,000,000 times for enlivening our bhakti and here. Little Johann.